Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the garage review and another tank suggestion for the T-34-3, the Chinese Tier 8 Preferential Premium tank, and we've got some Ace Tanker gameplay to go with it afterwards. Now this is a tank that's, well, it's okay. It's not brilliant, it's not bad, it's probably left behind. It's a very, very old school premium, and I would say that this is definitely left behind compared to a lot of other tanks. Like, you take a Type 59-2 or a King Dragon, and they are exponentially better than this tank. Like, they're just ridiculous, so much better. Obviously, I know that they don't have preferential matchmaking, but still, they are just better than this. So, first of all, I'm going to give a shout out to Frank Cooper. So, Frank Cooper, if you're out there, this was your suggestion. So, thanks to you, we're getting this review out. And to be fair, it's a tank that I didn't really give much credit to or much due before I saw the suggestion. And yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part, but it does struggle. There's a lot of things that don't help its cause. So let's go into the stats. So we've got a 4.48 rounds a minute rate of fire, which is, yeah, for a 122 it's okay. It's not horrendous. And 390 alpha on a medium tank at tier 8 as well. That is fantastic. Love that. Always have done, always will do. 175 pen. That's where we start to struggle a little bit. There's a lot of tanks at tier 8 that they've brought out, tech tree and premium, that this thing struggles with. The 250 heat is lovely, but at the same time it's a premium tank. I don't want to be having to fire premium all that often. So the 175 pen is not the nicest. It's got 3.4 second aim time, which is pretty terrible for a medium tank. Sure, it's a big gun, but it just takes a while to range in, and the .46 accuracy as well means you derp a lot of shells. I don't know, it's not the best. Turret armor's good at 200mm of turret armor. It's well angled, well rounded, which means it's a solid tank when hull down. It's got 380 meters view range as well, which is also pretty good. It's got good traverse speed at 46, so you can out-traverse. Say if a light tank comes to circle you, you can turn in tandem with it, probably, pretty much. I don't know. It's a tank that I kind of enjoy. It's my type of playstyle, to be fair, because you're slapping rather than cutting. But I couldn't recommend it. There's so many better premiums to go for. The camo at 29% is pretty good. The shell velocity is terrible. 800 meters a second on the AP. 640 meters a second on the heat, which is slow. It's so slow. Like, when you're coming against tier 9s, this thing struggles with its pen on the AP rounds, so you've got to fire heat when you're coming against things. And it struggles a lot. Like, at range, it's not a good tank. It wants to be up close and brawling, but it's not got even the best of armour for that. Like, side scraping wise, 80mm of side armour. That means you can side scrape quite nicely against a lot of tanks. It means you're not going to get overmatched if you do decide to side scrape. You can brawl in that way, but with 100mm of upper hull armour, and the angling probably only makes it 160 effective, something along those lines. Against most tier 8s, they're going to destroy you. I mean, it's a typical old school tier 8 preferential premium tank, in the fact that it's a 7.5. It's very good against lower tier tanks, but when it starts to see its own tier tanks and tier 9s, it really struggles. Really does. It's got, let's check out the power to weight as well. 14.65 power to weight. It's not the worst. It gets about pretty nicely. It's 20 kilometers backwards is good. That's always very nice to have on a tank, which means it gets about. On the equipment side of things, I do run tank rammer, vert stabs, and coated optics. You could possibly run vents to try and get a bit more, well, to get more out of that gun, because that gun can be atrocious. It can be very, very atrocious. I mean, it is the same gun that you get on, say, this WZ-111, but look at the WZ-111. Better rate of fire, better aim time, better accuracy. You know, it's more in line with the 112, which is a heavy tank, which at 4.55, again, fires more than this tank. That's just what I'm saying. This tank really does get left behind by a lot of its predecessors, well, a lot of its successors. The tanks to come after it anyway. So if we're looking at, say, the King Dragon. King Dragon fires more, way better accuracy, way better aim time. Obviously the Pendant, that's better. Same view range. Now, it's harsh to compare it to the King Dragon, because King Dragon for quite a while, and it still is, looks like Type 59-2 is, still up there with the top set of premium tanks at premium medium tanks at tier 8. But that's what I'm trying to get on to you, is the fact that if you're going to, obviously that's ugly, that is an ugly tank. If you're going to go for a tank, don't go for the T-34-3 black, go for something like the Type 59-2. Because it's just better. Like, even with the slightly worse rate of fire than the King Dragon, it's still better. Let's look at it compared to the actual Type 59, which is the other Chinese tier 8 medium tank that is a preferential medium. Like, obviously, aim time and accuracy is pretty poor for... I mean, this is a derpy tank, and it's got 250 alpha. The pen is not much better. Your DPMs is definitely better, but it's not as good. You've got the same hull armour, same turret armour. I think it's the same hull armour anyway. Because I believe they buffed it. Yeah, there we go. It's the same hull armour as the T-34-3, because they did buff the T-34-3's hull armour to be up to par with the Type 59. Compared to most other tanks, like I say, it's not the best. It's probably better to go for a lot of other tanks. I mean, you compare this tank as well to, say, trying to think of other preferential premiums here, the Panther 88. The Panther 88 is another one that's probably, it's okay, but in terms of its gun handling, its penetration, its DPM, view range, obviously it's got no armour, its mobility is also probably just as good. It's a way better tank. Way better tank. Okay, we're going to look at another one, and this is again unfair because it is probably one of the best medium tanks at tier 8, and that is the STA-2. It's just so much better. Look at the penetration, for instance. It's got the same view range, but the penetration is 212 and 275. This tank doesn't even need preferential matchmaking. It's so much better than everything that they've got. So, yeah, my thoughts on the T-34-3 is it can be fun, but it's got to really behave. The gun handling's a bit unwieldy. It's probably been left behind. It's definitely been left behind. It just needs a little bit of love. Say maybe better penetration, like the Super P got. The Super P used to be 170 penetration, but it got buffed to 190. It could do with something similar to that, and maybe an aim time buff and an accuracy buff, just so that it's slightly better than the heavies in terms of gun performance. Because, to be honest, except for camo, the WZ-111 is a better tank than this in most ways, because it's the same gun depression as well at 5 degrees, which is not very well. It's Soviet medium tank levels of okay. So yeah, overall it can be a fun tank, but probably not worth picking up unless it's extremely dirt cheap. So I'll see you on the replays, guys. So here we are, T-34-3, and we're on Himmelsdorf. So this is a map that will probably display what this tank can be capable of in brawling situations. So we're going to take it up to the hill, as I normally would with most medium tanks, and we're going to see what we can do. Like, this matchmaking is very nice. Top tier, which is always good. Fair few tier 7s that we can put good shots into. There's a couple of tier 6s as well. So it's not the worst. But right now, we're heading up to the hill. And there's literally just me and a T-34-3. Nope. Nope, not going up there by myself with just that guy. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to cut down to the banana and try and help this bog horror, who again is all by himself fighting all these guys. So we've got to help this guy, because otherwise they'll break straight down the banana and they'll harm our chances of winning. We managed to get round and shoot that Type 59 to try and save the bog horror, but unfortunately their Type 59 shuts him down. So we're just going to pop a shot into this Type 59. Nice roll, 412, and we are both hull down against each other. Now, one thing I didn't mention is the cupolas. The cupolas on both this tank and this Type 59 are both weak spots. To a lesser degree on this tank than the Type 59. So as you can see, I was aiming for that, and unfortunately it didn't hit it. And we're going to try again, and we bounce again. As you can see, very difficult things to hit, especially with a very inaccurate gun like this. So we're getting bored of bouncing on the Type 59. We want to get rid of him, so we're switching to HE, which, because we've got a 122mm gun, means we're going to hurt when we hit that guy with HE. 202 we did to him. He's bounced on our turret again. And we're going to pop another shot in for 204. So this is always a nice thing to have with higher caliber guns. When you're against tanks that are hull down, that are a pain in the ass, you can just sling HE at them. And that does enough damage to them to maybe make them think of pulling out, changing positions, and just generally whittles them down. So I'm living the dream here. That Hellcat 105 pulls out and lets me shoot him for 512 with HE. It was lovely. It was just what you wanted. And now we're going to try and shut down this Type 59. But lo and behold, 175 pen on the lower plate of the Type 59. Bounce. Because the AP rounds on this tank aren't that good. We were going to shoot him in the side, but unfortunately he ended up turning, so we ended up tracking him. We were a bit slow on the uptake on re-aiming there. And we're going to pop a shot into the back of this Paladin. 440, nice roll again. And we're sort of stuck in a little bit of a brawl on this road. Somehow this Type 59 is not dead. I don't know how. So we helped them and shut him down. And we were going to roll across there. But there's things that we're looking at as we've lost the hill, because the T-34-3, even after I'd pinged him to say fall back, went up anyway and died. Like, you've got to think, if you look at that and think, I want to go to the hill, my tank will be good on the hill. But it's just you and one other tank going, especially since the other tank was bottom tier. Don't do it. Turn around, try and think of something else to do, go away. It's something that I don't do sometimes. I'm just stubborn and I just decide to go anyway. But it's better to run away and go die doing something else than die by yourself and then sort of sit there complaining about the team, for instance, and saying, "Oh, team, why didn't you go to the hill and we lost because of, I died and didn't do much because of this and that." You may as well go and do something else. Be a bit more proactive about what you can try and finish off or try and do yourself. So we get a nice shot into the back of that Italian tank. Finish him off. We're on 4 kills, 2.4k damage, and we're now chasing the last 3 tanks alive. Some great driving as usual. Crashing into things, and we're going for this. I think it's a UDES that's in this corner. Hidden round the corner somewhere. And we're trying to flush him out. And then, lo and behold, turns up behind us. So we're going to run at him and see what we can do to him. Now I'm thinking ram. as we pick up the kill on him for 159 with the ram. What was it, 400 and something on the roll as well? It's not bad. 3k damage. 5 kills now, and we're now chasing that Top Gun. We want it. It's what we want. It's what we need. It's everything we need in our life. So we're going to go chase this heavy tank down that's hiding. The light tank thought better, really, of fighting this Carnarvon. Now, this is a dangerous tank. We get very lucky with the RNG and the fact that that swings into his lower plate. But that Paladin, or the Carnarvon Action 10, is an incredibly dangerous tank for us to be fighting. His DPM is insane. But luckily for us, he kind of backed off. And we managed to put a nice shot into him. But he's going to shoot at us again. We know we can reload before he will. And we're just hoping that no one else finishes him. And we managed to finish him off for the 6th kill of the game. 4k damage and a roll around on Himmelsdorf. Very nice game for the T-34-3. Kind of went how you want it to. We faced enough tanks that we weren't going to struggle with penetration-wise. That would possibly struggle with us a little bit more. The only thing that we really came across that was dangerous was the Paladin, or the Carnarvon Action 10. And he was the last one alive, so he lost a lot of health quickly. Like, if I had other people shooting at him, he probably would have killed me. Because I wouldn't have finished off with that 3rd shot, and he would have just DPM'd me. But we finished that game with a Top Gun, Sniper, High Caliber, Sniper, because we were very, very very, very close range to people. And we finished that with a very nice win. Now, we're on steps. And I think this was the first game I played in it again. When I asked for these tank suggestions. And this was the first game I played in it again. To like try and play in it. I think I've only, at this point, only played it 4 or 5 times. It's not one that you have to, the only thing you have to get used to is the terrible gun handling. And the bad aim time. Generally, it's a play style that you should be used to with any other. If you played any of the Chinese medium tanks, or if you played any of the Russian ones, really, it's a play style you should be used to. 5 degrees of gun depression, and trying to keep yourself in positions where you're going to take hits on your turret and you can slap out the damage. So we'll get a nice shot into that General 404. You can see how long it took to aim when we popped up on that ridgeline. We got lucky that no one else really looked at us while we were there, but we managed to slap a nice shot into him. And we're now looking for other shots all around. They don't seem to have come to this flank. As the light tanks are bugging out, we're going to see if we can pop a shot at these guys crossing. A nice shot straight into the turtle there, 404 again, which is tasty. But like I say, nothing seems to have come to this flank. So while they're presenting themselves, for the most part, hello, RNG. That was delightful. Number 1. Okay. Number 1, RNG was a god for us there. We didn't aim, and it went straight in. Number 2, RNG trolled us, because we got the low, I think that was a min roll at 297. That was the lowest roll we could possibly get, which is poo-poo. But then again, we shouldn't have hit him, so rough with the smooth. We're going to try and pop a shot into this SU-130PM, and we get a nice little shot into him, 392. And again, we're just keeping it so that he'll only really be able to see our turret. We may be overexposing a little bit to our right, which means they could shoot us in the side of the turret, but we are pretty hull down. So, it's pretty good. And I want to advance up to my right and put more shots into people, but this guy is stopping me. So I want to go over that way, which is why I'm looking to see what that light tank's doing. And luckily for us, he just drives out into the open, we set him on fire, and he's gone. So thank you, RNG. So now we can move up to where we wanted to. I'm wary of the arty, for which we light him up. We try and pop a shot in with the RNG, but the RNG doesn't favour us. And I'm basically moving into the kill zone for artillery, which is not good. We're going to try and shut down this general, see if we can do it. Shell flies true. Take my word for it. These shots, I mean, to be fair, for the most part, like this one is fully aimed. These shots are not representative of this gun. It does miss a lot. You really have to aim it fully for it to do anything. These two games, I've had quite good luck with the gun in general. And for the most part, for a gun like this, and because of how sort of inaccurate it is, I really do make sure I'm going to hit the shots as best I can. So I'll fully aim as much as possible. As much as I can. So I've, unless, like the atomic was, and like this artillery was when he was pulling back, unless the tank that I'm shooting at is quite clearly going to get behind cover before I'm aimed, that's the only time I'll take the shot. Because if you don't shoot, you don't score. And that rule applies in this game a hell of a lot. You may as well take the shot. If someone's going to pull back and you're not going to get another chance to shoot at them, you may as well take the shot even if you're not fully aimed. Because RNG could do exactly what it did with that atomic, where the shot will fly in. Sure, we rolled terribly, but we got the damage. It could have flown off to the moon, but at the same time, if it flew off to the moon and missed, we'd have been no better off anyway. If we'd missed, well, if we'd just not fired. So you may as well take the chance, because there's a chance, like I say, that it'll always fly in. So now we're coming to this Patriot anyway. And we've loaded heat, because if he's facing us, we can't pen a Patriot in the front with AP. Because the Patriot is about 220 effective on its upper plate, and it's got a godlike turret. And the lower plate is very hard to hit for a gun this inaccurate. So I loaded heat to go through his front, but fortunately for us, he was being spun round by this LTTB, and we didn't have to worry about that. We switched back to AP now to go for these guys over here. And we're on 4 kills and 3k damage, which is nice. And we've been a bit more careful now as well, because they still have the numbers advantage on us. There's 4 of us against those guys, so we need to be careful. Poor aim and poor RNG there let us down against that 30. Because he moved forward and we sort of adjusted our aim to the left. It meant that we missed him. But RNG could have also gone with us there and taken the shot to the right anyway, because he was still in the aim circle, just unfortunately went behind. So we've loaded heat now as well, okay, because there's an Oni in that cap. And if the Oni, we are spotted doing this, so I'm expecting that Oni to be looking at me. So I can't pen it if it's looking at me with AP. And it's actually not the Oni in the cap, so I'm kind of like, oh right. Okay, it's not him in the cap. But anyway, we didn't want to take the chance, obviously, because they were about to win by capping, which, yeah, we didn't want. So we pop another shell into that atomic, and you're seeing how slow those heat shells are. My goodness, they are so slow. And it does let the tank down a lot. And like I said, they're over range, it's not too good. I mean, the fact that we hit that shot then on the atomic was pretty nice with its accuracy, but we're firing heat, so we weren't going to pen it with the spaced armor. I have no idea how or where that went into that guy, but it did, which is very nice. Didn't see where it flew. It must have hit him in the tracks, but again, that's how slow the shell velocity is. It's kind of like no, I'm not even going to compare it to the Cromwell Dirt. It's just like one of those again that you do fire and you do watch your shell just fly in. So we're loading AP now because we can pen this Oni in the side. If I was facing him from the front, I would have loaded the heat, but I know I can just face hug this guy in the front, in the side, sorry, and just not get shot by him and pen his side reliably every time. So we're unfortunate not to get the kill, but that's the way it is, and we get shut down by the other heavy tank. So there's only one light tank left. There's this turtle. We're on 6 kills, 4.5k damage, 1000 spotting, and we're now just chasing that 7th kill. That's all we want now. He's currently, he seems to be running rings around this 110 and derping him away. Or at least that's what it looks like from afar. So we're going to try and come in and save this 110, or try and help him. We're kind of hoping the 110 puts a shell into him so that we can finish him. It actually looked like the 110 had given up. So we get unlucky with the shell velocity and the RNG there. It took it away from us. But we're going to try and slap another one in. On the move, aiming ahead, tracks only. Because why not on the side of a light tank? 122mm shell hitting the side of a light tank, just tracks only. But here's that light tank. It's obviously a turtle. It's not the quickest, but with our mobility, we could keep up with him quite well. And luckily for us, he crashed into a rock, which meant that he wasn't going fast enough for us to miss. And we were close enough that we could finish him off with the 7th kill, which is very, very nice. So we end that game with a high caliber, ace tanker, devastator, Pascucci's medal, top gun, and a defender medal. 126,000 credits made. And overall, a tank that can be enjoyable. It's very, very fun to keep slapping people for 390 alpha on a medium tank, 2.2k base, 25 shots fired, 19 hits, 17 pens. Yeah, but overall, this tank can be fun. But to be honest, there is a lot better tanks out there to pick up. And the only time that you should ever think about picking this up is if it's dirt cheap. And if you're going to pick one up, you'll kind of want to pick up the Black Edition as well, because the Black Edition gets better XP. Better XP earn, which is better than the standard. Can make decent credits as well, but like I say, you're better with the Type 59-2 or a King Dragon if you're going for a Chinese medium. So, as always, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.